In this video, we're looking at the 6 Vedic illusions of life and how to move beyond them. Delusion 1 is the limitation of space. This belief leads you to the mistake that I am here and not everywhere. In everyday life, we inhabit a space of 3 dimensions, so a physical experience of dimension, which includes height, width, and depth. Well, this was how we perceived and described space for centuries. However, Einstein's theory of relativity had us consider an additional 4th dimension where gravity becomes a curving or a warping of space. Most of us think of time as the 4th dimension, but modern physics theorize that the 4th dimension is a spatial dimension as well. Not width, not height or length, but something else that we can't experience through our physical senses. Our limited consciousness is bound by a physical body, and it's come to believe we can only be here. But some people report experiences of astral projection, or soul traveling, hypnosis, lucid dreaming, out-of-body phenomenon, near-death experiences, or even we could question what happens to our consciousness when we are deep asleep or even in the dream state. So when you tap into the unified field of pure consciousness, or more scientifically, the quantum field, which permeates the entire universe, you are instantly equally present in any part of the field. There's nowhere you are not. The delusion is that you live in a localized universe, whereas your essential nature is non-tangible, it's omnipresent. Now, if you doubt this, take a look at the double slit experiment where wave-particle duality is explained. Number 2 is the delusion of time. This belief gives you the impression that I was born, I grew old, and I will die. There is a future and a past. But according to theoretical physicist Carlo Rovelli, time is an illusion. Our naive perception of its flow doesn't correspond to physical reality. Even Albert Einstein's relativistic space-time, an elastic manifold that contorts so that local time differs depending on one's relative speed or proximity to a mass, is just an effective simplification. The whole universe obeys the laws of quantum mechanics and thermodynamics, out of which time emerges. So the physical experience of time is depicted by our ticking clock, whereby we cast a perception of sequences, either past, present, or future. But Rovelli argues that our perception of time's flow depends entirely on our inability to see the world in all its detail. Quantum uncertainty means we cannot know the position and speed of all the particles in the universe. If we could, there would be no entropy and no unraveling of time. So when you learn to be completely present in this moment, to be in the now, time becomes merely a concept and ceases to have any hold over you. You realize that everything is actually happening at the same time, but at a different frequency. The delusion of a linear, time-bound universe gives way to your true, timeless, eternal nature. Number 3, the delusion of the limitations of attachment. This creates the thinking that I need this to be complete in some way. When you trust that every moment is complete in itself, you step into the freedom of life. The sun rises, the sun sets. It's impossible to hold on to the day or the night. Everything in life is temporary, including, of course, life itself. Relationships change, seasons change, our bodies change, our behaviors and our beliefs change. None of this is guaranteed. Enjoy what comes and be at peace with what doesn't. Number 4, the delusion of limitations of knowledge. This leads you to the belief that I know this, but I don't know that. By tapping into the field of infinite possibilities, you access a state of all-knowing, where everything exists as pure potential, waiting to be experienced merely by the touch of your attention. Nothing in life is certain. We set up these traps through the concept of expectations, but expectations seldom turn out the way you expect them to, leaving you often feeling disappointed, defeated, or even incompetent. Expectations are future-based. They exist only in the future, and they're anxiety-driven. Rather than expecting something to happen, focus on all the possibilities of what may happen, good and bad, and be at peace with them all. Then, no matter what eventuates, you will be more open, more ready, and able to embrace the limitless range of possibilities that await us all. There is no finite knowing. No matter how much we learn, there is always more to learn. And when we know more, we still haven't even touched the sides of infinite possibilities. So don't invest in a firm or fixed belief. It could very well change tomorrow. Number 5, the delusion of the limitation of creativity. This tells you I can do this, but I can't do that. There is nothing more creative than the mind of God. Just look around at nature. Everything you could ever want is right here. Your mind is a continual creator, thinking new thoughts, new ideas, new hopes, new dreams and goals. If you can't swim, you can learn. If you can't draw, you can learn. You don't have to be the world's best swimmer or artist, but you do need to challenge yourself so you can free yourself from the constraints of creative limitation and realize a whole creative universe resides within your very being. We all have the potential for anything. And when you realize how connected all living creatures are and how interconnected this entire planet, the entire universe really is, you come to see that you yourself are the creative mind of God that exists in and all around you. Number 6, the delusion of fear. The delusion that there is something to be afraid of is perhaps the most insidious of all. All negative emotions, anger, hatred, judgment, aggression, and racial intolerance ultimately stem from fear. The delusion of fear gathers the deluded behind them and makes them passive followers, too afraid to stand up for their own beliefs and values. Fear only exists when love is absent. With the understanding I've tried to bring you in the preceding 5 points, I am the universe and I am the totality, what then could you possibly fear? When you become ensnared in these illusions, you will suffer. Suffering is a result of not knowing who you really are, leaving you to live a life of doubt, confusion, pain, and frustration. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice and it does not need to exist. Therefore, suffering itself is an illusion. As always, there's a choice. Most of us struggle to fix the illusions. While you are stuck in the illusion, you try to make it as comfortable as possible. But apathy is not a solution. When you see others suffering, you've got to do what you can to help. Many great and enlightened teachers have taken on this service of helping the ignorant to awaken. However, if you become attached to the illusion, you ride the roller coaster of pain and pleasure for many lifetimes. You can step out of the illusion though. The great mystic Osho said, when you are absolutely dissatisfied with things as they are, only then do you go in search. Only then do you start rising higher. Only then do you make the effort to pull yourself out of the mud. So let's now look at 6 steps how to get out of these illusions. Number 1 is to meditate. Meditation is the most powerful tool you'll have to reconnect with your inner silence and rediscover who you really are. Number 2, make a list of all the limiting beliefs you hold on to, which are probably preventing you from living your life in fullness. These are the excuses and the illusions that you create for yourself, which block your spiritual progress. Things like, I'm too old, I'm too small, I'm not smart enough, I'll never be enlightened. And then ask yourself, what are these delusions, these limitations preventing me from doing? And then release them. Number 3, become the witness. Periodically throughout the day, don't be you, but be the observer of you. Observe your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Indeed, we are the only creatures, that we know of, that can think about thinking, can think about our brain and know that it's thinking, and then think about that. This is called metacognition, and it gives us some perspective on the intricacies and the complexities of who we are. So try and observe yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, and think about how you're thinking, and then ask yourself, who is observing? And that is the real you. Number 4, observe your breath. Illusions take you into the past or into the future. The real you, the only you, is in the now. Your breath can never be in the future. It can never be in the past. It is always in the present. During the day, pause and simply take a moment to be aware of your breath. Number 5, neti neti is literally saying, not this, not this. During the day, pause, touch, taste, hear, smell, or look at something and remind yourself this is not real. Your senses are finite. Your ears can't hear the full range of all sound. Your eyes can't see the spectrum of all light. Your thoughts can't know the extent of all knowledge. Your reality is simply a reflection of what you're focusing on and what you're accepting to be true. Neti neti, create a new way, a new reality. It's not just possible, it's assured. And the final one, number 6, is find your light. Find your truth, your purpose, and live it. The path that is shown by your light is the only path that is right for you. Living a life without purpose and love is a shallow existence. And if we cannot live in and from our truth, then we cannot be authentic, and we will always struggle to move beyond the illusions of life. Life is like a movie. Physical death doesn't end the movie, it's just an intermission before the next episode begins. Physical death is a deep sleep from which you arouse to another energetic form. Remember, the law of conservation of energy is a law in physics that states that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but only changed from one form into another or transferred from one object to another. You are limited or unlimited by how you choose to think. So instead of wondering if you'll ever be enlightened, start living it. That's all for now. Have a very happy and peaceful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.